that, you are here telling me the same thing. And I'm here telling you the same warning. So it's just going to be a matter of time. Now, talking about legality, anything that is called, forget about legality. A lot of you don't even know that. Legality. Tifnumbu. Chen wine mini. Let me do a stopover. This one talks say they won't challenge Tifnumbu because it's Sake Mefiole. They're supposed to arrest all of them too. Kolu, pick them up. Nigeria has become a lawless country. Some of you have no idea yet, Abi. Your democracy is dead. But just give it time. You go soon know better. Trust me. And they pray for long life for a lot of the Lagos Abobaku. So, Mokuna live long. Mokuna no die like the 63,000 people or 100,000 people who died under APC in 8 years. By
the Directorate of DSS. There is an existing court order by Honorable Justice M.A. Hassan of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory against Emefiele's arrest and detention. And despite this subsisting court order, which the DSS they participated in the entire proceeding, the case was against them. They has not appealed against the judgment. The judgment subsists. The judgment stands under a country where rule of law operates. Why would the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu allow himself to be ill-advised by the Directorate of DSS to go and arrest Emefiele in the wee hours of the night, 2 a.m. today, to arrest a CBN governor, somebody that have served this country? You arrest him like a common criminal. So we are calling on the president to immediately order the DSS to release Emefiele from unlawful detention, because there is a court order restraining his arrest by the DSS. And the DSS participated in the entire proceeding, and they have not appealed against that court order. Tinubu,
enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend.
You know, that's why I said that they're supposed to arrest all of them too. Okay, they are trying to say that rule of law, wow. You will begin to see a lot of other arrests in the coming days, because they need to give you something. They need to make you think something is actually happening when nothing is happening. You know, abracadabra, abracadabra. You'll be watching one hand and a lot is going on in the other hand, and they call him Idon. So they're supposed to arrest those guys too, if you ask me. In this, right? Let's go further. INEC and their rigging. Yes, last weekend, or no, not last weekend, last Friday, right? The Peter Obi and his own legal team, they were playing video for the judges in the Court of Appeal, and they were playing videos of a statement made by Mudu Yakubu, and then they were also presenting a sort of visual evidence that to prove that the nomination of a shitty man was contrary to the Electoral Act. Therefore, it was unconstitutionally nominated. That was a clip of Tifnumbu when he visited Bokwari in Daura to tell Bokwari that he has chosen a shitty man as his vice, and he hasn't even told him yet. And this was like a day after what was supposed to be the deadline. And a day after that, shitty man and his form was submitted. How they managed to backdate it by INEC is what the court would then have to kind of approve: the perjury, forgery, and so many other things against Kolu. So showing the video, here is one of the clips they showed where INEC chairman was publicly saying any results, election results outside the Beavers or IREF or what have you, is going to be invalid, because that's what the Electoral Act said. But they are changing the story now. But they played this in the courts. Listen.
Only last week, we commenced the training of master trainers on election technologies to ensure a seamless process. Beginning from tomorrow, we will commence the same training at zonal level and subsequently train all the ad hoc staff for the 176,846 polling units nationwide. On this note, let me once again reassure Nigerians that there is no going back on the deployment of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, for voter accreditation. There is no going back on the transmission of results on the INEC result being portal in real time on election day. There will be no incident form that enables ineligible persons to vote using other people's permanent voters' cards during elections. We are committed to ensuring that the 2023 general election is transparent and credible, reflecting the will of the Nigerian people. The critical foundation for credible election is the voters' register. You may recall that the CVR, which started on the 28th of June 2021, lasted for 13 consecutive months until its suspension on 31st July 2022. During that period, the Commission gave Nigerians regular weekly update showing the progress of the exercise nationwide, including analysis of the distribution of voters by age, occupation, gender, and disability for our planning purposes and for public information. At the end of the exercise, 12,298,944 Nigerians successfully completed the registration as new voters. All along, we have repeatedly assured Nigerians that our process of cleaning up the register is robust. After a rigorous cleaning up,
That was when they were like romancing a lot of you who were paying attention to the election. You are always ready for every information, and eventually it got you hooked. I don't know if it got you deceived. Not deceived, scammed. That would be the right word, right? Right. So the same INEC is now doing a kind of self-explanation. I want you to listen to this. It's not a new video. It's just about 3 or 4 days old now, but it's relevant for this conversation. Admitting what they did, but telling you that, well, it's not that enough to say the election of Tinubu is, shall bring out the evidence. Watch this.
I have a copy of the report. I have not gone through the report. I will take a copy of the report back to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission and the national commissioners for them to read the report and digest issues in the report. From our own point of view, in the next few weeks, the Commission will begin comprehensive review and evaluation of the 2023 general election. After every major election, the Commission conducts both internal and external review and evaluation of both the conduct and management of elections. So we are in the process of finalizing on that. Civil society groups and organizations will be a major plank of this review. Political parties will be a major plank of this review. The National Union of Road Transport Workers will be a major plank of this review. All our electoral officers will be a major plank of this review, and collation and returning officers will also be a plank of this particular review. So that review will take place in the next few weeks. We are finalizing on that particular review. Secondly, I'm slightly constrained commenting on some of the issues that have been raised, because some of the issues that have been raised here will be part of the review process that the Commission will carry out. Not only that, some of the issues that have been raised here are part of the issues before the various election petition tribunals and also part of the issues before the Presidential Election Tribunal. So I will find it very, very difficult to comment on some of the issues that have been raised. But let me say this, that one, as civil society groups and organizations, we have a responsibility to remain non-partisan no matter the interests at stake. We owe that to the Nigerian people, and we owe that to the society at large. before the 2023 general election, individuals, groups, and political parties claimed victory for an election that had not taken place. Let me repeat that before the 2023 general elections, individuals, groups, organizations, and political parties claimed victory for an election that had not taken place.
Sorry about that, because I was going to let you kind of listen to it more, but maybe I'll come back to it. Sorry, I had to pause that. I'll stop that midway. I was going to send a message anyway. So let's go to that court where the man that said people are declaring themselves a winner, but they eventually declared somebody winner. Now let's go to that court again. Sorry about that.
Except for Ebony, which will be tendered tomorrow. So the entire ward results for this election has been admitted. So nothing pertaining to that. Polling unit results have been admitted in evidence completely for the states we are challenging, same as from EC8Bs, which is what the election results. The other one that is outstanding will be the Cs and Ds, which will tender tomorrow. So for us, it's moving at as planned. From tomorrow, we tender the remaining thing and then we proceed to expert evidence. You see, what is most important in a proceeding like this is evidence. All the evidence for Labour Party is going in smooth. They are all going in smoothly. What is outstanding is is getting fewer by the day, except for the ones that INEC has not availed us. For example, for one of which is the beavers, access to beavers. So beyond that, everything is going in, no matter the effort are trying to either delay or confuse us. We're focused on the ball. No. Don't mind the number of witnesses listed. We may end up calling 10 or 7, depending on our judgment as to what is relevant to be proved. Not all witnesses certainly will come in, but at the time we were asked to mention number of witnesses that we need, we just had to give a figure. But certainly with the documents in, a lot of witnesses may no longer be necessary, except those that will just come to adopt them, and then we'll proceed. We want to avoid jumping. Thank you.
Peter Obi and the Labour Party also tendered supplementary document of Form EC8B, that is documents used for recording coalitions at what level in 12 local government areas of Ebonyi State, 4 local government areas of Kaduna, and 4 local government area of Oyo State, in addition to the 17 states and their local government listed the previous day. The counsel for the petitioners, Paul Ananaba, also tendered documents titled Form EC8Cs, comprising of 13 states and the local governments, which are polling unit results from local government areas.
For today, we're able to tender a total of 8 states. The result from EC8A for 8 states. I tendered 5, while Dr. Azinge tendered 3. Out of the 5, my own state, Imo State, was one of those that at least I tendered their election results for 8 states, from EC8A. So tomorrow we continue with from EC8B and C, and like that. So the objection by INEC is more like a statutory kind of objection. They're just trying to play safe. There's no harm in that. It's just a routine objection that they take just perhaps for reasons best known to them. But the documents tendered are actually documents, certified true copy of documents procured by from INEC, which we duly paid for. So for me, there's nothing to bother about. Incidentally, INEC has improved in their cooperation. Substantial documentation has been availed, while about 20% now are still outstanding. I think about 20% thereabout. I'm not exactly sure. I know not all, particularly the issue of beavers. They have not been able to give us proper cooperation on that. We need to have access to the beavers using our IT team to extract information. Even if the deleted information contained in the beavers, there's a procedure of extracting it. So it's for them to avail us that opportunity, and then the rest will be. No, the motion is a pre-hearing application we made, pre-hearing application, but then it wasn't taken then. Somehow it was overlooked or was missed. They mixed it up. So we want to just take it, and then it's about interrogatories that were served on INEC for them to answer certain questions, which would aid the trial and presentation of the case of Labour Party and P2B. So I believe they will certainly have to avail us those answers to those questions which were posed in the interrogatories. Interrogatories have been served on them.
It doesn't have any negative effect to your case?
No, it does not. It will not. Certainly those, but it's just to aid, just a procedural issue. Nothing to fear at all. Yes, thank you very much.
On Thursday, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last presidential election, P2B, tendered final presidential election results using declaring Tinubu as winner of the election. The collated results in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) contained in Form EC8Ds used by the electoral body was tendered and admitted as exhibits. After tendering documents before the court, the petitioner called its second witness, Anthony Chimwo, who is a software engineer. Under cross-examination by counsel for INEC, Anthony told the court that he is not familiar with Beaver's device when asked about the function of the machine.
Yeah, all the days have been fruitful. It depends on what happened on each day. But you could see that at least it is obvious that we have so much to present. And the court has been magnanimous, and our colleagues have worked with us. So we have made the presentations, and we have so much more to present, even as our days keep moving.
What is the difference between the Form ECD and the Form ECD8A?
Well, you will, let me say it this way. Part of the contentions is 36 states and the FCT. So EC8D is the result of the 36 states and FCT, and EC8DA is the national result. It will be clearer when we begin to address the court on those two forms.
So how do you feel, sir, that all the documents you are tendering have been objected to?
Not all of them were objected to. EC8DA was not objected to. And it is part of the pre-trial report, and it's in compliance with the Electoral Act and the schedule. That is being objected to didn't mean it was not admitted in evidence. We will get to know why they objected to them, and we will also have opportunity to respond to whatever argument they make as basis for our objections. But don't worry about that.
I'll save you the rest. The bottom line is that the case they are building against Tinubu in that court, if the court should do what is before them, Tinubu is going to be the shortest president in Nigeria history. And it's going to be the first president to be removed by court in Nigeria history. But can that happen? Can that happen? I have told you, right? I don't see that happening. Now, it doesn't matter if I want that to happen or if I don't want it to happen. What happens is that, do you see that happening? I don't. But can that happen? Of course, yes. I mean, impossibility is just a word. I mean, it's just two words, which is impossible as well, right? There are people that will tell you that they kind of see impossibility as a challenge, and they love challenges. So don't, the two can coexist. Yeah. But with the evidence there, Kolu may decide that all of you Nigerians who no get job, they want to give you free food. Oh yeah, anywhere where you see canteen, go there and say you are from, go there and mention the Kolu, you eat free food. Something that somebody told me, make I tell you. Somebody said when in 2003, when they rigged Ngige as governor of Anambra, and everybody knew that they rigged Peter Obi. Sure you get. So Peter Obi went to court. Then Ngige suddenly was like doing good. He was building roads. You know what I mean? It was there everywhere. Like, for the first time, the people of Anambra, they felt like they are seeing a real governor for the first time. 3 years. Ngige was governor of Anambra. The people of Anambra, they were telling Peter Obi that he should withdraw his case. What is he even doing in court again? If he wins his case in court, is it not road that he's going to come and build? Is it not schools and all this thing he's going to come and do? Ngige already is doing it. And it seems that Ngige is working for the people. So what is wrong with this Peter Obi? His own political party abandoned him. Can you believe that? This is not like somebody where Anambrans voted for. But Andy and Chris Uba, they were able to rig him out. And they told him nothing will happen. Nothing will happen from that court. It became so obvious that his own political party, APGA, abandoned him. The only thing they didn't do for him is to dismiss him and sack him as a member of their party. They stopped going to his court case. Some of them started working in Ngige's government. Yes, Ngige gave them appointments. But you see that Peter Obi, the guy just continued going to court until breaking news. Breaking news. Court of Appeal also have sacked Ngige as governor and ordered the immediate swearing in of Peter Obi. Who is Peter Obi? People started asking, sorry, which one is Peter Obi? Which political party? They say APGA. I wasn't young. I wasn't too young then. Oh. I'm saying this to you just because some people believe that that same historical event can be replicated in Nigeria. And if you don't believe that, it simply means you have not been following the story of Peter Obi. You have only been reading things people are saying about him. And you may be completely wrong or shocked with what could happen. His kind of person and his tenacity and all of that, being part of that same establishment to some extent, you just don't go and say he's wasting his time in court. So I understand where some of you are coming from when you said that it will drag Tinubu. The people around Tinubu will get hypertension, even though they are the ones in control of the judiciary that they are threatening now. But the fact that Peter Obi has a case in there, Tinubu will not go to sleep. And anybody who actually knows Peter Obi very well and close to Tinubu, if Tinubu is able to buy all those institutions and all of them, he better quite pay a very good money, to the judiciary, because this guy can pull a surprise, a very, very shocking surprise. The one they are going to turn to tribal war. Igbos versus Yoruba. So I get where you're coming from. I beg, hear me out too. You know where I'm coming from too. And you know that what I'm telling you, I am not making them up. There are things that exist in Nigeria these, right? When INEC say some people, let's continue to listen to that what that Bozo was saying. Like I told you, it was a few days ago. And he said, of course, the irregularity in the elections, which has brought illegitimacy onto Tinubu. Today, Tinubu is battling with legitimacy. Of course, he's acting like he's president, yeah? But there are millions of people who don't see him as president. But when you look at the bozos, the humbled slaves who have no idea of what this actually means in true sense of it, they will tell you whether you accept him or not, he will be your president for 4 years, he will be your president for 8 years. They have no idea. Bokwari was president for 80 years. There are many, many of us who never saw him as president. We saw him as a chancellor, and we saw Nigeria as a graveyard filled with humbled obedient, sophisticated slaves. And the result of that, Bukwari proved us right. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. It doesn't have to anyway. It doesn't have to make any sense to you. But see, the INEC is in this election like they are also contesting. They contested. Are you with me? Peter Obi is not fighting or is not contesting against Tinubu. He's actually fighting against INEC. And I mean, Atiku himself, who is waiting also on the tribunal or the court to declare him winner. And at the end of the day, they said maybe the worst case scenario is that the court will order for a rerun. A rerun to be organized by who? To be supervised by who? The people appointed or under the arm string of Kolu. But listen to this one. People say name now Okoye. They always have this premeditated conclusion about people. If somebody like me right now, no matter what I have to say, no matter how logical of what I have to say or share, right? But because I criticize them, definitely I'm an enemy. And as an enemy, my opinion doesn't count because my opinion is the opinion of an enemy. They call Nigerians enemies just to ward them off. And that's the divide that they have already widened. Let's continue hearing that guy again.
That before the 2023 general elections, individuals, groups, organizations, and political parties claimed victory for an election that had not taken place. So when the elections took place, they wanted a validation of what they had already made up their minds should be. And some of us within the civil society groups and organizations lent credence to this particular perception, and that created a lot of challenges. My third issue is that we still need a lot of education on the collation and result management process within the law, within the ambit of the law. Because some of us in civil society groups and organizations who did not have a good knowledge of the election collation process and result management process also assisted in making sure that people did not have good knowledge. And because some people didn't have good knowledge of the collation and result management process, they went to town and reduced the entire conduct and management of the 2023 general election to result upload. And I believe that we cannot, under any circumstance whatsoever, and under any guise, reduce the entire election only to result management or result upload. So if there was no problem with the senatorial election, and there was no problem with the election to the House of Representatives, there was no problem with the governorship election, there was no problem with the state assembly elections, you cannot then write off the entire election as a sham. So I think that when we are sober, when we reflect much properly, we will find out that there are a lot of positives to take away from this election. Most of us have not seen people complaining about beavers having malfunction in several places. Rather, people say that the beavers performed optimally. So if beavers perform optimally, what that means is that the accreditation process was top-notch. Now, election results are announced at the polling unit level. Over 7 political parties applied for accreditation for their polling agents or party agents, and they deployed to over 170,000 polling units. So what that means is that in all the places where they deployed, they were entitled to a copy of Form EC8A, which is the polling unit level result. So before you can begin to reduce the entire election to result upload, you must also compare what you have from your party agents at the polling unit level with what has been uploaded. It is when you have contradiction and when you have challenges with that you can begin to write off the electoral process. So I think that we need to soberly.
It is smoke Igbo. It is taking them. It is smoke Igbo. It is take Indian.
He's a madman, oh. But that's not surprising, okay? Did you see his name is something Okoye. He's an Igbo man. He's an Oloriburuku man as well. Do you see that straight face? You don't reduce election to problems with transmitting of results and all the nonsense is spewed there. His own chairman had this to say. What is the purpose of all the nonsense grammar he's speaking and all the useless English he's speaking there? When it's actually a clear, when it's meant to be a clear, straightforward process. If it wasn't for fraud, you got your voter's card, you get onto where they use the beavers, you are credited to participate in the election. They issue you ballot paper. You go in there and you vote. You cast your vote and you wait for them to count the vote. The result is announced there, but you see on the result sheet, that announced the polling results will be written on it, and they will use the beavers machine to take the picture and upload the result of that polling unit. That's it. That's the simple process. That is the process they compromised. That is the beginning of all these problems. We saw it. Now we are witnessing the consequences of it. Well, Okoye screaming, shouting, trying to blackmail people. Some people already announced their result. Some people needed education. What kind of education do you need when this criminal speaks in a very clear term? Yakubu.
Only last week, we commenced the training of master trainers on election technologies to ensure a seamless process. Beginning from tomorrow, we will commence the same training at zonal level and subsequently train all the ad hoc staff for the 176,846 polling units nationwide. On this note, let me once again reassure Nigerians that there is no going back on the deployment of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, for voter accreditation. There is no going back on the transmission of results on the INEC result being portal in real time on election day. There will be no incident form that enables ineligible persons to vote using other people's permanent voters' cards during elections. We are committed to ensuring that the 2023 general election is transparent and credible, reflecting the will of the Nigerian people. The critical foundation for credible election is the voters' register. You may recall that the CVR, which started on the 28th of June 2021, lasted for 13 consecutive months until its suspension on 31st July 2022. During that period, the Commission gave Nigerians regular weekly update showing the progress of the exercise nationwide, including analysis of the distribution of voters by age, occupation, gender, and disability for our planning purposes and for public information. At the end of the exercise, 12,298,944 Nigerians successfully completed the registration as new voters. All along, we have repeatedly assured Nigerians.
But there's no point in even playing the whole thing itself. This anyhow people, they will say mad people everywhere. I mean, they probably just have an idea of the country and the people they are ruling, or they consider all Nigerians as stupid people that probably won't be able to process anything. Unfortunately, they are probably right. Because we have people out there already arguing it out for them, explaining what they are trying to do to you, and the rest and all of that. So yeah, to those who are praying that job about God, may the God do something for you. I will always say amen to your prayers. Even though I am not optimistic, but you should never be without that your optimism and your hope. Because now waiting kind of brought you here be this. when all of you put everything into your political revolution, the obedient movement, was the hope you built yourself. You built this. You did this. So I don't have that chance of advising you otherwise. Keep up with it, I would say. Now let's take a look at this interview. I don't know if many of you have seen it. Adisirika, the man that stole, the man that got over 180 billion, sorry, 130 billion naira expended on the bogus Nigeria Air. You know, you remember when I told you something about what I have figured about Nigeria and why I am so grateful for the day I told myself Nigeria is not for me or my generation. Any seed, everything that comes out of me, Nigeria is not for them. I remember telling you that in Nigeria that I grew up in, the political, tribal, ethnic, divisive what have you that they play over time, let me tell you something. There is this saying in northern Nigeria, and it was the meaning they gave to Naira. You see, if as a Yoruba man, or let me say if you are not an Igbo in Nigeria, okay, let's say everybody who is from Nigeria, or except the Igbos, okay, they should be able to understand what I'm about to say now. Nigeria is so messed up and so effed up, right? That when the criminal politicians in Nigeria, when they do what they normally do best, destroy Nigeria their own way, and they have nobody to blame for why they have done what they have done. We were kind of psychologically raised to blame the Igbos. Don't you know that? If you don't know what is wrong with Nigeria, but you know something is wrong with Nigeria, you are expected to blame the Igbos. Well, these Igbo people are the problem of Nigeria, Jare. That is what they did, that they have to fight war. This Igbo, you have to blame the Igbos if you can't find any explanation for what is wrong with Nigeria. Are you hearing that for the first time? Let me tell you something. In northern Nigeria, there were kids who are now adults. They are now adults. I don't know if they still do it. Kids who are now like adults when they were growing up after the war, the genocide, Naira, Nigeria money was changed from pounds or pound sterling or so to Naira and Kobo. Now, changing it to Naira and Kobo, you see that particular Naira, main currency of Nigeria, has a different meaning in northern Nigeria. Ask me what is the full meaning of Naira in northern Nigeria. Never again Igbos rule again. They said never allow Igbos rule again. Naira. So if you want to understand generational training for bigotry, hatred, and everything that currently have a foothold in Nigeria today, generations of supposedly educated people, or bigots, a lot of them were raised to believe that the Igbos would always be the problem of Nigeria. No, there's actually no anything to back that up. And then they gave the Igbos 20 naira, 20 pounds before they changed the money. So as a little boy, they told you the meaning of Naira is never allow Igbos rule again. Naira. And you grew up like that. Do you know many other things they will tell you why Naira is Naira? Do you know many other things they programmed them to actually believe? And you are wondering today that Nigeria is so disunited, people hate themselves, because Bokwari came and he put all of us in our place. Yoruba, so yeah, I have space. Hausa Fulani and the rest of you, and your space be this. The Igbos, dot in a circle, now your own space be this. Bokwari APC, Egbekegbe, they divided Nigerians. And then you are wondering that educated people are so vile, so divisive, yeah? Do you understand what that generation will do? They are the generation that will break up Nigeria. Trust me. So every other thing they told you, every other lies they've told you about Nigeria, you are going to find out yourself. When you find out, you're going to be very angry. Very, very angry. Do you know why I said that if you have any problems and you don't know how to explain it, blame the Igbos? I'll take you back to the story. Addis Sirika, Bokwari's family member. This is like a Bokwari's nephew or something. Oh. They are related, though, in case if you don't know. So in case if you feel like Tinubu will not arrest Addis Sirika, that's the reason why he won't. Now, Addis Sirika was the Nigeria aviation minister. He stole over 100 billion naira, put up a scheme, and told 200 million people that Nigeria was going to have a national carrier. You know the rest of the story, Abi? Few days before the end of Bokwari's government, Addis Sirika displayed some firefighting vehicles. And according to him, he got 12 firefighting vehicles for 10 billion naira or so. How could you buy 12 trucks for 12 billion naira? That's like 1 billion naira per truck. Fire truck. Are you joking? Are you serious? Did somebody actually sign this off? Of course, somebody did. And just 2 days before the end of Bokwari's government, this criminal, Addis Sirika, decided to tell the whole Nigeria that the airline without any office, no recruitment training, no recruitment, no training, no nothing, was in fact already have an airline, aircraft for the airline. This Marafoka went to Ethiopia. He didn't even make the deal with the one that is Airpeace in Nigeria. Airpeace in Nigeria, owned by the Igbos. An Igbo man, by the way. Yeah, say it as it is so. Onyema, when Nigerians got trapped in China, in Egypt, in South Africa, when Nigerians got trapped all over the world, and they wanted to return to Nigeria, and Nigeria has no airline or no nothing. This Airpeace was everywhere, bringing Nigerians back from troubled zone, bringing them back to Nigeria, and the rest of that. They didn't make any deal with him. They went to Ethiopia. Ethiopia to go and charter a plane and present it to a country of 200 million people as the first among other hundreds of aircrafts that Addis Sirika has secured for Nigeria. Now, that was the story until after May 29. Addis Sirika came back. Guess who Addis Sirika is blaming for Nigeria air failure? Somebody called Honorable Nanji, an Igbo man, Igbo lawmaker. Now, the story gets ridiculous, by the way. It's not funny. Addis Sirika, who stole billions of your money with nothing, somebody who committed a serious crime and should in fact be putting his life in order until the day he will be picked up to go and spend the rest of his life in jail. The guy was a guest on a TV program, and he said the reason why Nigeria Air failed was because one Honorable Naji was asking for 5% shares in Nigeria Air before he can use his House Committee on Aviation to help them establish Nigeria Air, when in fact the agencies that actually certify you that you can start airline, health and safety, and the rest of all those checks, they have 5 stages. Adis Erika couldn't even pass one stage, the easiest, for 6 years that they have been brandishing the fraud. Nigeria Air. Listen to him.
Lagos is
Unaji asked for 5%. Is it 5% of Nigeria Air or 5% of the firefighting trucks contract?
No, he asked me exactly. You know, I record all my things anyway, and I have it very clear. He asked me that please, I should give him 5% of Nigeria Air to carry him along with his people. I am saying, and I said to him that time that look, Honorable, you didn't understand me. This is a bidding process that has taken place, and some people won rather. So I think you should go to those people and ask them the 5%. So I want to assure him that at some point, even the 5% held by federal government will go to market. So he should get his money ready and buy for him and his people according to him. That's what I'm saying about Nigeria Air.
In other words, Honorable Naji and his colleagues in the House of Reps were in the Aviation Committee were asking to be bribed before they could support the Nigeria Air project.
In other words, Honorable, let's be fair. Honorable Ilan Nonlim didn't say other members. He said he wants him and his people. His people could be his family, could be members, could be leadership. I didn't know what it means. But him and his people, 5%. I'm saying that he should relax and approach the owners. That's exactly what I told him in camera. You remember, I've been to House of Reps 20 years ago. And 10 years ago, I was senator. I know how the workings is. He called for public hearing. And right after the public hearing, he just turned the paper and read the Riot Act. What is the practice in National Assembly is that after hearing people and the complaint, you now go and sit down as a committee, the clerks will do their job, you now sit down, discuss the issues, raise them, approach the whole House of Reps, and take position of the House.
You hear the thief? It's no longer about the money. He said, no, the whole thing about Nigeria Air, now only 5 billion we budgeted. But I only spent 3 billion. I didn't spend 100 billion like people are saying. But you know, that's not even the issue. Honorable Nanji didn't support me. That is why we don't have Nigeria Air. Honorable Nanji is saying, for me and my people. That's how they do it. The people will do the rest of the job. Now, so the Igbo people, they do. So it's the Igbo lawmaker that did not let us have Nigeria here. I don't read them from this numbskulls, these dumbos. This Rika is very, very eloquent. I didn't even know that that's the story behind the Nigeria here. All this enemy of Nigeria, President or President Tinubu should do something about them and bring back Nigeria here. Some dumbos are already saying that on social media after listening to Adis Erika. So the Igbos are the ones who didn't let Nigeria here come. I told you, if you fail, if you loot, if you do anything, just say the Igbos are the people who don't like you. The reason why that happened is because of the Igbos. You don't need to make much explanation. Just blow the dog whistle. They will do the rest for you. Unfortunately, somebody was supposed to jail. By now, he's supposed don't share in family. He's supposed don't share or write in his own will and read his will to his family and say, you may never see me alive again, because by the time I come back from prison, I may never come back from prison. But no, wait for it. They may give him another appointment. And if you think the person that gave him that made him Minister of Aviation will probably have something to say, he don't want everybody. All of you will go to say, he don't tell everybody, say, if you're not mad, you're not look face, so nobody should come and ask him to come and see anything that is wrong with Nigeria. He's gone. He's gone. Just like this.
Nobody should ask me to come and give any evidence in any court. Otherwise, whoever it is, he will be in trouble.
whoever did it, he will be in trouble. Let nobody call me to come and give evidence in court. Too. But what they said is that they said, Bokuwari, they said Bokuwari was sending that message to his own appointees, those who worked with him. That if you anything where you do, you don't say now paper now they bring for me to sign. Now paper they sign. So if they talk say you don't do bege and bege don't bege, no call me and say let me come our guys come and do witness. For now, the people of Southern Kaduna are already putting together all of their petition that they plan to take to the what do you call it? International Criminal Court in Hague for the trial of El Rufai. Yes, El Rufai as as a genocidist, a murderer, and known as in somebody who supervised the mass killings of the people of Southern Kaduna up to Benue, honestly. So this coming days, this coming weeks and months are kind of so loaded, I would say. But I will kind of leave you with this, especially to those of you who have been kind of getting ready to enter the ring and put up a fight on Yoruba versus Igbo, Igbo versus this and that. Let me tell you something. Elections have consequences, okay? In life, normally, politics. You see, let's say you have different political ideologies. It is normal. You can throw banters, you can argue, you can disagree based on your political ideologies and all of that stuff. But let me tell you this free of charge, in case some of you that once they mention God, all of the thing will get sense for your body, they go surrender and they go disappear. Your mumu button go become active, okay? Now let me say this very much to you. When you are having any kind of political engagement and with your political differences, and you say a lot of things to yourselves, okay? But whenever you see people who stand up to incite tribal, ethnic, or racist, or racial or religious attack on anybody, if what I'm saying is so, when you see a group of people who rise up and say the only way to defeat these people is that anywhere you see them, attack them, kill them, because they are Igbos. Don't ever be one of those that they will drop God before. Once they drop God in the conversation, your mumu button will become active. Don't be like that. Election and politics is not games. Yes, some of these Ashiris will tell you, politics is a game now. Why are you taking it serious? There will be a winner, there will be a loser. So what is the big deal? Let us move on, Joe. Politics is just a game. Politics is not a game. Are you with me? Elections are not games. They are not competitions whereby somebody wins and somebody loses and you move on. No. You see, politics affects people's dreams, people's hopes, people's lives, people's businesses, aspiration, and everything that has to do with our existence. Every wrong move or every wrong turn, people die. Do you understand that? So if you see some Ashiris who are trying to simplify what happened in this your 2023 election, where people who wanted to go and exercise their own right of saying, I want to go and vote for my choice, you saw what happened to them like in broad daylight. And somebody turned around to tell you it's just an election now. Why are you taking this serious? Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to lose. If you believe that shit, right? Well, I'm going to say, if you are lucky the last time, you will never be lucky this time around. These bigots are fascists. If you don't agree with them, they have the temerity, the rage to kill you or inflict bodily harm on you for disagreeing with them. They can tell you to start packing your stuff and go back to where you come from because of politics. Now, when they begin to make their political decisions, the decisions and the consequences of these decisions are not limited to them. Even those of you who don't want them, you have to share from it. Now, if election happen and you see people who publicly, whether they are your family members, whether they are Yorubas, Hausas, or what have you, you saw them publicly called for the killings of the Igbos because of election. That is not a game. That is not a game. It's not a game of football where you argue over Manchester City versus Manchester United. That's not politics. Politics is not you arguing over Ronaldo versus Messi. This is not a game. People's lives, people's hope, people's aspiration, people's dreams get ruined and destroyed with political decisions. So when you now see those who made that happen, turn around and tell you, it's just a game now. Let's just move on. Another election, this and don't do that. Don't do that. Because they will do worse. Because you are still their threat. You're still going to disagree with them. Your only license of staying alive is when you decide not to be on the side that is opposing to them, to theirs. Now that is not guaranteed, is it? And that is why if you have them as friends, if you have them as family members, if you have them as employees, if you have them as your employer, the person will actually give you that job, listen to me. Of course, it may be a hard thing to do for you. You should begin to review your circle, especially them. If you can't move away from people like that, people who incite people who were pointing at their own friends on election day that is Igbo, attack him. Look at that one coming there. He's obedient. We know him. Oh yeah, attack him. People like that, they will do it again if they actually feel more like you are still a threat. So politics is not a game. And for the people with a good mind and then those who are like good people, I am advising you not to keep short. If your if your parents are bigoted people who are promoting, this kind of a violent politics and all that, divisive politics, they might be your parents. You should talk to them if you can. Because you know one thing about this toxicity is that, right, in Yoruba land, for example, today, even in Igbo land today, you have seen that even in Nigeria generally today, the Igbos and the Yorubas are the only two ethnic nationalities that have mostly intermarried, which means we have produced families. When this toxicity goes on, go and read about Rwanda, where father, mother, or let me say where husband and wife are plotting to kill themselves and kill their children simply because that's the ticket of you being alive and not being called a traitor or betrayer. When they continue in this trajectory, it's all going to take us to one place, the state of perdition. I'm going to leave all of you to this. Well, before I leave, Rufai, tell us something about why nobody should, by any right mind, fall into the trap of this tribal ethnic politics that these guys are playing. People will die. Well, you can prevent that by using what is called simple information. Don't make yourself a willing tool in the hands of criminals who actually don't give a damn about Igbos or Yoruba or anybody, just themselves. And divide and rule works among those who are so ignorant, right? Not knowing that they are fighting the battle of these criminals. Maybe this can help. Something from the archive, from the history. Rufai, let me share this.
Lagos is a Yoruba land, as against assertion of some people that it is no more.
Rufai, I know you've made some comments on this, just really quickly so we can move on.
I want to tell a story.
Okay.
And with this story, I'd like to pay tribute to Chief Shubomi Balogun. That is, I think he's been buried around this weekend. In the thick of the Civil War, a certain young Igbo architect who happens to be the first PhD holder in architecture in Nigeria had a home close to Shubomi Balogun's home. And when the war started, the Igbos had to go back. And Shubomi Balogun saw that squatters were coming into the home of this architect. And he chased away the squatters and he renovated the home. And he put somebody in there and he was collecting rent from her and keeping it for the person. He could have taken over the property because as at that point in time there was a war and the Igbos were being denigrated. But he kept the home. After the war, this architect
PhD holder in architecture, came back and he met Shubomi Balogun and he said, "Oh, that's your house. I kept the house for you." And while he was going, he said, "Please, wait." Then he went in and brought wads of money out and said, "This was the rent I got." And he said, "Thank you." That architect later became the vice president of this country, Chief Alex Ekweme. And that good turn deserves another. When it was time for Chief Shubomi Balogun to also get his own banking license, that same man was instrumental in getting his banking license. That's the kind of story Lagos is. All of this happened in Lagos. This is the Lagos I know. The Lagos of Chief Shubomi Balogun and Alex Ekweme. That where they came from did not matter. But the love and the unity that binds us together.
That is the point.
Today, both men are dead. But their story is the true example of Lagos. This Mudashiru Obasa's Lagos that he's talking about here, I don't know it.
Thank you so much for your time. And before you go, please like this broadcast. I will see you some other time. I know it's shocking, right? Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Mayegun Diary politico.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary Mayebi #1.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń gba rìbá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.